Welcome to the show. Today's topic is, can HRV and resting heart rate guide your training priorities? The answer is yes. That is the end of the episode. Thank you very much and goodbye. Not really. I think we need to start, James, with defining what HRV is for people in case they don't know.
Yeah, so I've written this down, so I'm going to read this on the sheet to make sure I get this right. So heart rate variability, or HRV for short, is a measure of your autonomic, see I've got it wrong already, autonomic nervous system that is widely considered one of the best objective metrics for physical fitness and determining your body's readiness to perform. That's very different to your resting heart rate, stuff like that. Because heart rate variability is literally the variance in time between the beats of your heart, right? And it's not about being the lower the better. It's the greater the variability, the more your body's able to readily handle fitness. God, I can't even say it today again.
The greater the variability, the more ready your body is for physical exertion. So we put it like that, which is, that's the science bit, which is, before I knew about heart rate variability, I genuinely would have thought it would have been the other way around, but it's not. More variability is better.
There's lots of factors that influence HRV and everything, but what we tend to see is that if you have, it's like an inverse to the resting heart rate, for example. If you have a low HRV score, it means you tend to have a high resting heart rate. And likewise, if you have a low resting heart rate, you tend to have a higher HRV. That's the important thing. It's like an inverse relationship. Yeah. That's essentially what we want to see, and see it time and time again. Now, the reason we're talking about this today is because we've had a potential client, somebody come to us who shared their very, very low HRV score with us and very, very high resting heart rate with us. So, we want to talk about how it impacts our decisions when we're working with clients like this, and just share experience of working with other people who've had this in the past too, and how we've had to work around this, because it's not as simple as go and work out and do this type of training. What it tends to mean for us is that, assuming that all lifestyle factors are normal, i.e. they don't drink much alcohol, they eat well, they sleep really well, there's not much stress going on, what it tends to lead to us is that they have very poor aerobic capacity, and they need to work on their cardiovascular development. It's a system development, not meaning that we got to go and work out and do high intensity workouts, or just run really hard or bike really hard as quickly as possible. We've actually got to help them develop a system of cardiovascular development and build it up slowly to improve the system overall. I think that's a good way to put it, isn't it, Josh?
Absolutely, I definitely agree with that. I think it's important to point out, in terms of the Strength Matters system, model of training, whatever you want to call it, health comes first. That's first and foremost. Whenever we get a new client, we put them through our assessments, we get their health data, and if we see something like a high resting heart rate, and if they have access to heart rate variability as well, and it's a low score, then that's that's a red flag for us. We've got to say, okay, as you say, you look into the lifestyle factors first. What other things are going on? What are they eating like? What are they sleeping like? How much are they walking? Are they walking at all? What's their hydration level like? What's their work-life balance? What type of job do they do? Are they stressed? So much stuff goes into it, of course. And once you've taken all that into account, as you say, if you've got a high resting heart rate and low heart rate variability, 100% cardio is your number one priority, because without your health, you've got nothing, right?
Exactly, and it's highly likely they have something called aerobic deficiency syndrome. So it's something that we're going to build up here, and that ain't something you're going to fix by doing high intensity workouts. It's long, slow stuff to build volume over time. So if anything, walking is a starting point here. Like building up walking for volume is a great way. Introduce slow run, walk, jog type elements, where I'm talking really slowly and minutely and building for time. So you're running for a minute, walking for 4, doing it for 15 minutes to begin with, then 20, then 25 and 30, but keeping it really simple and easy. So your body is building this base, this foundation to handle it. So at the moment, your body can't recover fast enough to handle everything else that's going on, and it's a lack of development. It's like a baseline system that we have to develop accordingly to put it back together again. So high intensity is not the winner here. We've got to build it slowly here to build it up to then maybe we can go some high intensity later on down the line. But weight training, as great as it is for doing body composition looking good, yes, keep doing that. However, it's not going to improve your HRV scores unless we have a system of cardiovascular development to go alongside it.
Everyone loves doing the high intensity anaerobic work, but when you're putting your health first, it's probably not your priority. And as you say, in terms of like the way we do training, we have the 20-minute walk test. Can you get 1.5 miles in 20 minutes? If you can, awesome. But if not, you've got to build up to that. And as you say, building steps up to 7,000 ideally, but continuous work. And we like to get people working continuously up to an hour, whether that's walking or maybe doing some easy mixed modal work or whatever it is. And then, obviously once we get them doing that, you can make things a little more intense for them. And that's generally, we do see good improvements in resting heart rate and heart rate variability.
Exactly. And we tend to see there's a lot of people who have the fear of God put into them by any form of cardio. So if we would say to them, hey, if I was to ask you, yeah, exactly. Well, there's that. There's also people who like, well, if I asked you to run a 5K, what would you say to me? You'd probably get a punch in the face. So we tend to see a lot of people, because this is why they associate cardio with pain and suffering. Whereas cardio doesn't have to be pain and suffering. It can be enjoyable if you get it right at the right intensities to help people enjoy it. So what it will do though then is improve their ability to recover faster, sleep better, make better decisions, whether it's in work, training, life, whatever you want to call it, and they just have way more energy to go with it. So it's such an important factor. And then obviously perform better, absolutely. In terms of performance, we definitely want that. But this is what we tend to see it with a lot of people, and this is the general population in itself, that those who associate training and cardio with pain and misery, this is what we see. And when we see this, we know we've got to go easy with them to begin with and slowly build them up to speed. Otherwise, we could, again, instill more fear of God into them, and it's why they hate it so much. So
exactly. We don't want to insult anyone, but would you say, in our experience, we get that slightly less hatred of cardio from Europeans and slightly more hatred of cardio from our American clients?
Yeah, absolutely, all the time, because it's just the way it is. Europeans are more endurance-based sports. Americans are more power type based sports. That's the way it goes. But like I said, it's not just training we're looking at here now, it's all sorts of things. And we use HRV. We ideally want to monitor everyone's HRV and resting heart rate continually. I do it. I use an app called Athletic, and I measure it every single day. I see how poor eating habits or lack of sleep impact my day-to-day habits and HRV, and how it impacts my ability to train at the right intensities. And that's what we're meant to be using this for, is to make better decisions, to work out the right intensity to improve your quality of life and your health long-term and long-term performance too. So there's so many things to think about. So yes, do we use it? Absolutely, all the time. We do use it as often as possible. But in terms when we see these types of numbers, we know it's potential aerobic deficiency syndrome, and we've got to build them up slowly with cardiovascular capacity.
Absolutely. So if someone is listening into this and they've just checked their resting heart rate and it's like, 78 or something like that, and they've got a terrible low heart rate variability score, a couple of quick tips before we sign off about what they should prioritize.
Start walking more at lower intensities to begin with and build it for volume. And if you want to do some form of cardio, I would suggest using the MAF method of having a heart rate watch or something where it's 180 minus your age. So say you're 40, so it's 180 minus 40, so it's 140. Work out continuously for your heart rate less than 140. That's a really simple way to do it, and just keep it nice and easy. So at the end of it, you feel more refreshed as opposed to you do feeling tired and exhausted.
Exactly. Favorite methods of doing that: rower, assault bike if you've got access to one, especially assault bike because there's no technique involved. Just jump on and go. That is it for this week. Please don't forget to rate, review and subscribe, and if you want to learn more about our training system, go to strengthmatters.com/system.